I'm Nicola, welcome to my studio. Today we are going to be making a Stranger Things painting. Let's go. I had COVID a few weeks ago, so I was finally able to binge watch season 4 of Stranger Things, and there was this one shot of this character this one here, you know who he is, that was just so beautiful. I really wanted to capture it in my drawing, and now I've liked the drawing so much that I wanted to make this Halloween painting. As you can see, I'm using tracing paper to make my transfer to get the drawing onto the canvas I'll make the painting on. I really like using tracing paper because it preserves the original drawing. These drawings take me hours to make. I'm just really slow. And keeping it is great if I have a new idea later on. I still have the drawing to start from. I've finished copying the drawing onto the tracing paper, so it's time to make the transfer, and I do this by scribbling on the back of the drawing, but you can see here I kind of messed up. Halfway through I realized that maybe I should check to see if this will even show up in the canvas I plan to use, and it turns out it didn't. But do not fear, for where graphite fails, a little charcoal will do the trick, and I tested and proceeded with that. You can't really see it, but it's there. It worked, I promise. We are now ready to transfer. I'm going to just put some midlines first to help me place exactly where I want the drawing to go, and then just draw over it, double checking that it's going to work. That looks good, and we're safe to continue. Oh, there is thunder in our hearts. And this is the result of the transfer. I think it looks really good and I'm very excited to paint. Before I actually begin painting, I decided to throw in a quick background just to cover up that green of this recycled canvas. You can kind of see that I made a landscape painting on it years ago and just didn't like it, so covered it up. And now it's gonna be reused. It's funny that I just randomly threw this in as a whim because it actually inspires and becomes a really important part of the painting later on, but originally I was just rushing to sloppily cover up the background. Okay, now it is really time to paint. I like to make all my colors at once. I think getting to see them all together gives you a very good idea of if they're actually going to work, how they're going to look next to each other. And I'm not trying to make an exact copy of the photo, right? We want to make a painting, not a photo, and a color harmony that makes it a little more romantic. That's what we want. This is what happens when you're lazy kids and don't clean out your linseed oil when you're done painting. Although I'm going to continue to be lazy and just clean that side out later. All right, we are all set up and ready to get painting. There is no correct way to make a painting, and I certainly do not consider myself an expert, but today we are starting with the eyes. I'm a big believer that they are the window to the soul and all that jazz, so I like to just get started on them because they're going to set the whole tone for the painting. It's also the most frightening part, and just kind of getting them over with. I don't know, it's what I like to do. I realized I forgot to have my drawing out. It's essentially my notes on what I want to make, so I need to have it in sight. And now I'm just gonna let you enjoy watching the painting get made for a little bit.
Oh, come on, angel, come on, darling, let's exchange the experience. Said if only could make a deal with God, and I get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, with no problem. Said if only could make a deal with God, and I get him to swap our places. I'd be running up that road, be running up that hill, with no problem. Said if only could make a deal with God, and I get him to swap our places.
And there is the last stroke for day 2. By the way, this Running Up That Hill cover is by the band Surnames. They're linked in the caption down below, and it is my beautiful boyfriend singing. Actually, I kind of bullied him into making this for my video, so thank you to him. Here's a quick snapshot of my palette. You can see how I mix the shirt and hair colors, making a harmony of them and seeing them next to my other colors first before I use them. But you can also see how I used the pre-mixed colors as a starting place and then continued to mix with them. You don't want the painting to look like a paint by number. It's day 3 and the only thing that needs to be done now is the background, but I want to make sure the painting is completely dry first, so I am lightly investigating that with my fingers. The hair was dry, the face is dry, and I'm a little worried about this one finger. Boop. Yeah, white paint always takes the longest to dry. I'm actually not very sure why, but we'll give it another day or two. So day 4 in the painting, but it's actually been a few days, and you can see it is completely dry and we are good to go in the background. I showed images of what I had so far to a few people, and the feedback I got was that they really like the background as it is. Spooky and drippy, perfect for Halloween. But I just wanted to work on it. I knew I could make it better, and so I just kind of decided to wing it. And this really went badly quickly. So I had seen this painting technique done before, but I've never tried it before myself, and I knew I should have tested it out first, but I was lazy, and you'll see what happens. Okay, I apologize, but I knew this part would be juicy, so I filmed it vertically to be able to post it to shorts and TikTok and stuff. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but you'll just have to enjoy the video vertically for a moment. But you can see what I'm doing here, and it's all about adding a lot of paint thinner. I'm using Turpenoid and then letting gravity do its trick. And I was really just going for it until I realized the paint was so thin it was seeping through the tape onto the painting. Obviously, I should have layered the tape from the bottom to the top instead of top to bottom to prevent this from happening, and testing it out beforehand would have likely taught me this, but alas, that is just not who I am. Yeah, so full panic mode here. I began to rip off the tape to see what damage had been done, and dramatic pause for effect. I completely lucked out. Very little paint had actually made it through the tape, and the paint that did was very easy to clean up because it was so thin. All I had to do was add a little paint thinner to a clean brush and it wiped right off. And thus my laziness was rewarded. I touched up the areas around his silhouette and even added a few more details and drips to the background. The painting was looking like it was about to be finished, and I only had a few more things to do.
Said if only could make a deal with God, and I get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill with no problem.
5th and final day, we get to do the best part. And that is add the sparkle every portrait needs, which are those itty bitty white highlights. They are going to make the lips more sexy, give his eyes 100% more intensity, and just overall bring the painting to life. It is done, and I am really happy with how it turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Please ask me any questions you have in the comments, or if there's anything specific you'd like me to explain in more detail. Thank you again to Surnames for the music, and I hope everyone has a beautiful and spooky Halloween.